Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I am back again. My third day in self-isolation. This one's fun, quarantining myself. But now I can justify having scruffy hair and a beard like this, right? So every cloud has its silver lining. I am here to entertain you through these troubling times and to help you get through what is probably a stressful time if you're shutting yourself away. I'm here to entertain you, not just with my content, but to suggest more content for you to go and look at. Who knows? You might find a new passion. So today I want to talk to you about one of my favorite genres of videos on YouTube. And now I know you're thinking, oh, come on, Levi, obviously you watch guitar stuff on YouTube. And the answer to that is usually no, believe it or not. When I look through my subscription feed on YouTube, there are actually very few guitar related channels on there. There are some obvious ones that I do check out. But when people come to me and say, did you see this new video from this guy? Or did you watch this show? The answer is usually no, because I don't come to YouTube to watch more guitar related stuff. I come to YouTube to get away from all the guitar related work that I'm doing. So I watch a ton of great genres on YouTube, but one that I've really got interested in the last 4 or 5 years is, believe it or not, YouTube lawyers. Suddenly things will make sense if you're a listener to my podcast, The Guitar Souls, because we often cover lawsuits. We often talk about things that are happening legally, and I often give, all my opinions on how this is likely to play out, with the caveat of I'm not a lawyer. And I have to make that caveat because I'm obviously not a lawyer. But the reason I have so much to say about all of these lawsuit related topics is because I spend a lot of my time listening to people who actually are lawyers talk about lawsuits and get an understanding of how the law works. And I know this might sound boring, but trust me, go with me on this. I might be able to ease you into it. So it's actually a really big genre on YouTube. And of course, it's a complicated genre because laws are different depending on where you are. Most of the lawyers that I'm watching are US based, but even then, that's too broad a subject. Lawyers in the US have to be licensed to practice law in the state that they are practicing law in, because laws differ, right? So it's going to depend on the content that you're watching, but it gives you a general idea and an interesting perspective on how things work legally around the world. And law might not be something that you want to have to deal with, but it is something that we all have to live under. So I find it genuinely fascinating to look at some of these examples and get an idea of where your perspective of what society deems to be right and wrong falls. So I'm going to ease you into this genre with 5 channels. I'm going to give you the recommendations. Go and check them out. You will probably find some content that you enjoy. If your mind is like mine and you like thinking about and discussing and arguing as well, because of course law is about arguing your point, your position, right? You may enjoy some of this stuff. So in at number 1, this is probably the gateway into this as a genre. This is, you might even say this is the BuzzFeed of YouTube lawyers. And that's a channel called Legal Eagle. That's right, Legal Eagle. And this is run by a gentleman by the name of Devin Stone. This is a very entertaining channel, genuinely a very entertaining channel, because while he does talk about, from time to time, talks about current affairs, talk about lawsuits that are actually happening, he is more geared towards, as I say, that BuzzFeed mentality. He does videos where a lawyer reviews the law. So maybe by watching a film like Liar Liar, the classic with Jim Carrey, or My Cousin Vinny, or he's just uploaded a video recently looking at The Witcher TV series and analysing them from a legal perspective. So looking at the legal cases, the things that are happening in Liar Liar, and telling you, the actual real world legal implications of the things that are happening. So it's kind of fun to take that more, less serious approach to the law, but then teach you something about the real world application of law and how these things work. So those videos are definitely entertaining. I also kind of like, he does a series called Laws Broken, where he'll take a look at a film and point out every example of laws that are being broken, and then at the end sort of give you an idea of a sentence that would likely be handed down to the person in question. He's got some great videos on like Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, talking about the child abuse cases that happen in there. Also talk one about Home Alone, which is, very funny. Is Kevin McAllister guilty of attempted murder? Who knows? Well, Devin Stone can tell you. Great channel, honestly, worth checking out. And once you look at these more kind of tongue-in-cheek fun examples, he has the odd example of real life legal cases that have happened that are a little bit more entertaining or will get you thinking a little bit more. So there's a great video that he did on the shotgun booby trap, which was a case where somebody set up a booby trap in their house, a shotgun, because their house was being broken into regularly and it was being, pillaged regularly. And despite putting up all of these warnings to potential looters, do not enter, have no right to be here, eventually the person set up a shotgun that would, when a burglar opened the door in the bedroom, the shotgun went off and, caused some serious damage. Who is in the wrong in this situation? Definitely a very interesting video, definitely a very interesting channel, and I think that's probably the easiest one to get into this YouTube law concept with. So check him out. Devin Stone at Legal Eagle. Of course, links are all in the description. Next up, we have one that's probably a little bit more heavy in terms of legal content, and this is Lawful Masses with Leonard French. So Leonard French, very entertaining gentleman, does these very long live streams, but then tends to cut them down into smaller sections of the things that he's covered. And this is more real life law. This is analysing actual ongoing lawsuits, reading through court documents, and helping you to understand the things that are going on. Now, some of these can get a bit heavy, and subject wise, some of them may not be all that interesting. But there's a lot of lawsuits happening, and the chances are he's probably going to look at some that you do find interesting. So, of course, he has done videos talking about, say, the Katy Perry and Flame lawsuit. He has done videos talking about the Led Zeppelin lawsuit. So that's kind of like a music copyright type thing. But yeah, definitely, very, very interesting channel, and you can get sucked into his content for hours and hours and hours. Just entertaining guy, and he's got a huge community around him, and you really get the idea of why. Entertaining, informative. What you tend to find with lawyers is they tend to be as unbiased as possible, because it's really a case of understanding the law from an unbiased perspective. Unless, of course, you are some sort of prosecutor, whereby you're or defender, where you are really trying to argue the defence or prosecution of someone based on your interpretation of the law, because of course the law is there's a huge degree of interpretation involved, but from an analysis perspective, it's about understanding that and trying to be as unbiased on the points of how the law works. So that's Lawful Masses with Leonard French. Excellent channel, well worth checking out. Next up is a channel called Steve Lato. Now, the production quality on Steve's channel is nowhere near as high as, say, Legal Eagles or even Leonard French's. It's kind of similar to mine. It's a guy sat in front of a camera. It's a lawyer sat in front of a camera talking about ongoing legal cases. And the thing that kind of pulled me into his channel was he done some videos recently on someone was suing him. And it's always interesting to hear a lawyer's perspective on being sued. Lawyers are something that I have had to deal with multiple times in my YouTube career, believe it or not. And I know that going through lawsuits is a stressful time. So seeing someone that's in Steve Lato's position, as in a lawyer themselves, talk about what that process is like for you and the absurdities of the situation that some of the situations you can find yourself in, concepts like malicious prosecution, just finding that out and sort of understanding why he's not too worried about it, and seeing his ideas on because there's a lot of predicting involved. They're talking about ongoing lawsuits and his own ongoing lawsuit, but then also predicting what a judge is likely to find. And I find that very interesting because I guess as a lawyer, that's kind of a huge part of what you do. You're making your arguments, not in the hope that a judge will side with you, but you're kind of making your arguments in the knowledge that a judge is going to side with you based on your understanding of the things that can be concluded based on the arguments that you've made. So that's Steve Lato. Now the next one, this one is you might call this one maybe potentially a little bit more YouTube drama or ongoing real world drama, and that's Recator Law. So I started watching Nick Recator's channel when he was this big, when he started his channel, and initially he was covering the Maddox and Dick Masterson lawsuit, which was an absolute steaming pile of garbage and hilarious to see it unfold. Absolutely hilarious. Nick probably is the channel to go to in order to really understand the ins and outs of everything that happened there. But needless to say, trying to sue a bunch of people for $500 million because they made fun of you on the internet is probably not the best use of your time and money. Maybe. The thing I like about Nick's channel is he is of everybody on this on this list. He is the one that is probably the most biased. He is the one that is happy to be quite inflammatory. He's the one that will drink whiskey and give you his opinions. He is the type of guy that will drink whiskey, read a lawsuit, and call people assholes. Like, I like that. I shock horror. Like, I can be quite confrontational myself. So to watch someone like Nick, who is a lawyer and understands the lines of where you can go and where you can't go, and explaining to you why you can go somewhere and why you can't go somewhere, is definitely interesting. He has been very rapidly growing on YouTube. As I say, when I started watching his channel, he had 0 subscribers, and now I think he's sitting at around 80,000. So he's, dwarfing my channel now. But again, it's because these guys make content that huge groups of people find entertaining, and you may find it entertaining yourself. Lastly, I'd not seen any videos from this guy for a while actually, and I went to his channel just to give you an update on some of his latest videos. And I thought it was surprising that I hadn't seen any of his videos in my subscription feed, because this is probably the second YouTube lawyer that I started watching, and it seems that actually his channel has all but died. He's not uploaded any content in 9 months. But that doesn't mean that there's not a wealth of interesting resources available on his channel. And this is a gentleman by the name of Leo Lesser. His channel name is YouTuber Law. And I find his channel extremely interesting because Leo Lesser is a copyright attorney. So he specializes in copyright law. And of course, a huge part of being a YouTuber is understanding the ins and outs of copyright, or at least having an understanding of the ins and outs of copyright. And because sometimes you need to make fair use arguments, right? It's the reason when I do my listening party streams, I don't stream music that doesn't belong to me, because that would be a breach of copyright. But if I'm using clips of something, that wouldn't be a breach of copyright. Make sense? So looking at someone like Leo Lesser, who has that experience, I certainly remember him talking about, he has a painting in the background of a lot of his videos, and there are videos where he talks about the legal implications of him having that having that painting behind him, and the licensing issues that could potentially go with that. And of course, there's a degree of legal theory, the theory of law here. But his perspective on, is there a legal issue with me having someone else's painting in the video behind me? Am I using that? Would I need to license that in order to broadcast it on my YouTube channel? Again, like, questions that I don't think a lot of people would have considered, but definitely something that this stuff is interesting. I have people talking to me all the time about, the legalities of transcription. Can I do this? Can I do that? Or the legalities of playing covers on YouTube and things like that. Now, of course, I'm not the person to ask for this because, again, I'm not a lawyer. T-shirts are available that state that on the Guitar Souls merch page. I'm not a lawyer, right? But I don't want to say a good understanding. I have a basic understanding of how this stuff works. And it always surprises me when I deal with people on the subject of transcriptions and they're mortified, absolutely mortified, that they can't, go and transcribe a Joe Pass album and then make a PDF book of it and sell it on their website for $40. Like, you can't do that. That's not how copyright law works. You would need to license that. You need to have a right to publish that content, and you need to get that from their publisher. And complicated subject, right? Because how do you get a license for something when you're not printing X amount of books, when you're selling things digitally? It's a complicated world, but you need to have an understanding of it if you want to operate within it, because you're just going to end up in a lot of legal trouble. There's a reason I don't have a website that says, in my career I have done these 4,000 transcriptions. If you would like to buy all of these or any of these, add them to your basket and you can download them. I can't do that because that would be a violation of copyright law. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't know what I mean, but that's the point. So you need to go out there and maybe watch some of this stuff if the music business is something that you want to be more active or successful in. And there you go. there we have it, YouTube lawyers. A genuinely interesting subject, at least to me. Really, I guess the concept of this video is not necessarily to tell you the content that you should go and check out on YouTube, but it's more to tell you about a little bit more about me, okay? Some of the content that I watch on YouTube that isn't guitar related content, because there's a ton of great material out there, and some of it you may enjoy. But also to ask the question back to you: what content do you watch on YouTube that isn't necessarily the content that you would expect based on the fact that you're watching one of my videos right now? Let me know in that comment section below. Let me know the stuff that you watch on YouTube that isn't guitar related, because it's fascinating to me that there are these crazy genres of video out there that people thoroughly enjoy. I watch a lot of science videos, and that gets you that gets you down the rabbit hole of channels like the Hydraulic Press channel. And genuinely, every time the Hydraulic Press channel uploads a new video, I'm like, can't wait to watch that. Why? It's someone squashing things under a hydraulic press. But I love these videos. I love when they come out, and I get excited about watching them. And some people would consider that nerdy. But I think the whole beauty of content online is that there are so many niches out there, and spreading these niches around, making these ideas and these genres a little bit more popular. You never know, right? You could be helping a content creator to feed his family, because we are all struggling right now. But also at the same time, you may go out and find something that is your new favorite thing. One of you guys watching this video right now might leave a comment saying, have you ever checked out such and such a genre of videos? I would recommend checking this out. I might go and watch this stuff, and I might find my new favorite thing to watch on YouTube. And to me, that's a very exciting idea. So let me know in that comment section below. Finally, I just want to say a huge thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. You guys are absolutely incredible, and right now more than ever in this lockdown situation, I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have some income right now to look after my family. So thank you so much for your kindness, generosity, and support. You can check me out on Patreon by following the link in the description, or there will be a link at the end of the video. And if that doesn't appeal to you, then please do head on over to Amazon, have a look for one of my books. Just search for Levi Clay, and you will find many of my books. And who knows, maybe you'll find something that you enjoy. I would bet that you probably do. Right, if you would like to check me out on Patreon, you can do so by clicking this button up here. You can subscribe by clicking this button down here, and you will see 2 more of my videos here and here. Serious about that, guys. Let me know in that comment section below. Interested to know the types of things that you are watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and I will see you for another video soon. Goodbye.